But for the Redmi Note 15 Pro, there's only one main use. Either you buy it for the elderly at home, in that case it's fine. In all aspects, it's good, and since they're not playing games, for daily use there's no problem. The other scenario is for people who don't play games and just use their phone for chatting, communication, and similar things. For them, this phone is also a decent choice. Right before major flagships launch, Redmi has come out with another phone, the Redmi Note 15 Pro, a true budget phone. For a phone like this, we only need to pay attention to one thing. It's equipped with the Dimensity 9000. I'm not sure if, at this point, people would go for a phone with this positioning. So, let's do a quick unboxing. I'm curious to see how it feels to use. In this video, I'm going to record a full unboxing of this phone. It doesn't come with any accessories. I've seen some versions that include earphones, but mine only came with the phone box itself. I bought the white version with 8GB RAM and 256GB storage. Alright, let's go ahead and open it up. Let's take a look at the accessories first. There's a phone case, a regular black silicone case. It feels pretty good in the hand, but with this kind of case, if you use it a lot, it does tend to pick up dirt and smudges pretty easily. Other than that, there's basically nothing else except a SIM ejector pin and a user manual. Now let's check out the phone itself. The plastic wrap this time is a bit different and kind of hard to remove. It's just a direct plastic sleeve, not the paper kind from before. Here's what the phone looks like. The chamfered edges are a bit odd. Let's take a closer look at that in a bit. The included charger is 45 watts, and there's also an A to C data cable. We won't spend much time on those. Let's focus on the phone. First, let's peel off this network access sticker and look at the phone's appearance. The back of the phone looks familiar, but I can't remember which model it reminds me of. Anyway, it looks similar to something I've seen before, and when you touch it, it's hard to tell by tapping, but the back panel doesn't feel like glass. It feels a bit like plastic. Looking at the front, it comes with a factory screen protector applied, but it seems a little crooked. The top part is covered well, but at the bottom, there's a big gap. Let's power it on first. After turning it on, the camera module on the back kind of looks like the one on Huawei phones. Let me put the case on and see how it looks. So this is basically what the phone looks like. It comes with the factory installed PengPi OSR system, so next I'll go ahead and activate it. Setup is complete. Then we enter the system. The factory screen protector seems to pick up dust easily, though it's hard to see. If I show it like this, it's clearer. I haven't used the phone much since I got it, but there's already a lot of dust stuck to it. This probably didn't happen at the factory. It must have picked up this dust after I got it. After all, this phone was just released a couple of days ago, so basically there aren't any used ones on the market right now. As for the appearance of this phone, I'm not sure what you all think, but I feel it's pretty minimalistic. However, there's one drawback. The feel in the hand isn't that great. I'm not sure if the back is glass, but when I touch it, it really doesn't feel like glass at all. It feels quite rough to the touch. You can even hear the sound when I rub it, and the texture isn't very good. But the frame actually feels okay in terms of quality. Also, this phone has a lot of chamfered edges, like around the camera module, which is chamfered, and the front frame isn't actually rounded. This is also a chamfered edge, but the curve here is done pretty well so it doesn't feel sharp in your hand. However, it's a slanted chamfer that slopes down, not a rounded transition to the screen. Now, if we look at the bezels on this flat display, the top and the left and right sides are actually very symmetrical, but the bottom bezel is still a bit thicker, so it's not the same width all around. You can see from this angle that the bottom is a bit wider. For someone like me who's a bit of a perfectionist, it's a little bothersome, but if you look at it from a bit farther away, it's not too bad. The size of this phone is actually pretty big, so it's more suitable for people like me with larger hands. Now I've turned the brightness all the way up, and this is how it looks under the lights. You can still see the screen very clearly. The screen brightness is actually pretty good. But as a budget phone, honestly, I don't think this phone has much of an advantage in terms of performance or features. Let's just take a quick look. The battery is really big. The Note 14 Pro had a 5,400 mAh battery, but this generation, if I remember correctly, it's 7,000 mAh. So the positioning of this phone is very clear. It's all about super long battery life. So the first thing that didn't give me a great experience is the phone's vibration. It's not that really old school kind of vibration, but when you use it, the vibration is honestly pretty disappointing. I'm not sure if you can hear it in a recording, but it feels a bit odd and kind of jarring in the hand. The experience just isn't great. Next, let's open up the camera and see what's been cut back here. For zoom, you get 0.6x, 1x, and 2x. If you try to zoom in further, it just crops the image. And as for this phone, looking at it, there doesn't seem to be a macro mode. Phones like this usually don't come with macro. There's HDR, a dynamic photo option in the top right, and also a watermark feature. I'll just take a random shot so we can check it out. Here's what the watermark looks like. Our Note 15 Pro seems decent for live streaming, but I believe it lacks some of that Leica vibe. As for the watermark options, there are actually very few, just 2 device watermarks. The second device watermark also includes a time tag, and the third option is just a pure time tag. There's also a location tag. So you only get these 3 watermark choices. For video recording, the highest it supports is 4K at 30 frames per second. If you go with 1080p, the highest frame rate is 60 frames per second. But in Pro mode, it doesn't support professional video recording. It can only do pro photos. This camera is really minimalistic. There's not much to see here. In the documentation for flagship phones, I remember there are all sorts of features, but this phone is noticeably much simpler. As for this phone's processor, it's basically equivalent to a Snapdragon 870. Now, in 2025, honestly, for just over 1,000 yuan, if we add a little bit more to the budget, maybe go up to a little over 2,000 yuan, we could get a really good processor. I wonder, if it were you, would you choose this one? A phone with this kind of configuration for this price is still usable, and the overall experience is decent. But as for how I see the Redmi Note 15 Pro, there's really just one main use. Either you buy it for the elderly at home. In that case, it'll definitely be fine to use, and it's pretty good in all aspects. They're not going to play games, so for daily use, there's basically no problem at all. The other scenario is for someone who basically doesn't play games and just uses the phone for chatting, communication, and similar everyday tasks. In that case, this phone is also pretty decent. But if it's us young people using it, the sound quality, the camera, and the vibration feedback, personally, I feel like the experience in these areas is pretty lacking. The appearance is actually not bad, and the feel in the hand is okay too. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the back here also has a chamfered edge, so it doesn't feel sharp in your hand. But the main thing is this back panel. I don't know why, but the way it's made. Anyway, it's just not smooth. The only advantage of this design is that we don't have to worry about the phone being too slippery. When you hold it without a case, it's pretty much impossible for it to slip out of your hand because the material on the back has a lot of grip. I also bought a screen protector for the new phone. Let's see how it works out. Hopefully I won't regret it. But honestly, flat screens are usually much better than curved ones, so I can only say I'm super cautious with curved screens, but with flat screens, I go all in. The screen protector was really cheap, only about 30 yuan for 2 pieces. Let's take a look at what the protector actually looks like. The black border seems pretty thin, and with tempered glass protectors, the black border can be made equally wide on all 4 sides. But since the phone itself doesn't have equal width bezels on all sides, it looks a bit awkward. The wide black border might cover more area, but it could also block part of the screen. We'll have to put it on and see. The alignment tool in the Instant Apply kit already has a protector fixed in place, so we just stick it on and peel off the original factory film. After peeling it off, the screen is obviously much cleaner. Then just place the protector on. It will automatically adhere to the screen. Wait for a little while. There are a few small bubbles. So this is what it looks like right after being applied. Let's try to push out these bubbles and see if there are any issues. This is the result after smoothing it out. You should be able to see that it looks pretty good, no issues. Although there were some bubbles during the application, there's no problem with pressing them out. Earlier, when I activated the phone, I registered my fingerprint on the original factory film. Now that I've switched to this tempered glass, let's test it directly. I haven't even tried the fingerprint unlock yet. Let me turn off this smart card first. Alright, now let's take another look at the fingerprint. No issues with speed. When I tap it, it unlocks. This phone has a flat display and doesn't use ultrasonic fingerprint tech, so no worries about the sensor. It doesn't matter what screen protector you use. If there's a black border, the coverage area is larger and you can see it. Look, the phone below has a thick black border. The black border hasn't changed, so with this flat display, there's nothing to worry about. Very good, and as for the smoothness when you swipe, this really depends on the tempered glass. When you turn off the screen and touch it, you can actually see that fingerprints are much less noticeable. It's definitely not going to get as dirty as a soft film. The oleophobic coating on this glass is probably done a bit better. So that's pretty much it for the Redmi Note 15. That was a simple unboxing. I'm curious, what do you think of this phone? Whether it's the design, the hardware, or the price, who do you think this phone is suitable for? Since I just got my hands on it, I haven't had time to run any tests for you yet. After I've used it for a few days, I'll do some tests and let you know how it performs, especially when it comes to gaming. Also, since its main selling point seems to be the big battery, I'll check out its battery life as well. So how is it? As everyone knows, even though Xiaomi phones have big batteries, sometimes their battery life isn't actually all that great. So give me a few days and I'll do a detailed test and make another video for you. That's it for this video. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.